The Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, a phone that I've reviewed a few times over, simply to see how it holds up and whether the updates are useful or not. And when I got OneUI 4, I was like, okay, maybe the phone will be better. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Battery life just gotten worse and worse over time, with sometimes not even reaching 3 hours of screen on time. It was really bad. So, how is it now with OneUI 5, and have they fixed the problems that I had with my exynoss version of the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra? Let's find out in this video and see how it now performs. So, on the question of the camera, which is very versatile, has it improved in daytime performance? Let's find out. For me, when it comes to Samsung, I never thought they were the best in terms of camera performance. This is in daytime and in low light. I always felt it was more the versatility and the possibility around it that made their cameras work well. Not the best, but it was more strong at the versatility. This still holds true for the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. The versatility is good, but I don't think it was or ever will be a great camera compared to those who are its competition. This means Vivo, this means Xiaomi, this means any other brand that you can think of. Now I will say, so for daytime performance in terms of taking pictures, it's not bad at all. I love the 3 times the most. Gives a good better feel when you're closer to subjects, and it has good focus. Downside is 10 times soon. Every now and then just doesn't want to focus at all. I didn't have that problem before, but I do have it now. But oh well, let's continue. But to continue, I think with Samsung you can still make some solid pictures. Overall, I think with the 3 times zoom, I can create some shots that have a really nice depth of field and overall just look really appealing when it comes to certain shots. I still think though that when it comes to Samsung, it misses out on character, having a soul in the shot itself that Sony till this day does best, and then after it Vivo and then Xiaomi. But if you are looking for an image that looks fine, that looks good, that you can use on social media and so on, yeah, why not? Samsung does a decent enough job. Of course, in terms of video recording, it goes up to 8K, but honestly, no one uses that because it isn't very good. Stability wise, let's just see how it still holds up compared to some phones that are newer. On a phone it seems a bit shaky, but we'll find out afterwards. Now a really important question is, did they fix low light situations? Now to showcase the difference between OneUI 4 and OneUI 5, we have to showcase how low light performance was beforehand, showcasing how it processed images. And with OneUI 4 we can clearly see that low light shots had a lot of issues. Not only a lot of grain, but also that the sky had some weird effect going on that just didn't look proper at all. It made the shot look bad and low in quality. So let's now look at the comparison. OneUI 5, the update to Android 13. I can straight away tell that there is an improvement overall. It's still not perfect and sometimes you can still see some artifacts going around in the sky itself, but it's definitely better, albeit a bit softer when it comes to the sky itself. Of course, it is not a one-to-one comparison because I don't have 2 phones at the same time, with one having OneUI 4 and one OneUI 5. However, I will say that while in general I feel like there has been an improvement, the effects can still be there, and therefore I wouldn't say that I find this very reliable in low light situations if you want that clean and proper shot. I want to bring you back a few months ago, where I made a review about the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, seeing how it performed. And what it really did bad was battery life. And of course with this video I want to check out if it's any better now. I will have to say that while it isn't great by any means, and I wouldn't even call it good in terms of battery life, it does seem that there's a small improvement in terms of battery life. You still don't get a charger included and so on if you buy this phone, but when it comes to just regular battery life, I will say that it has slightly improved. Again, that's not a difficult task. Just like in low light photography, it's easy to improve something that was bad, if not really bad. With the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra on OneUI 4, I sometimes manage to only get 3 hours of screen on time and sometimes even below it. That's not good by any means, and it doesn't matter if you're a Samsung Knight or not. That's bad. Right now I would say that I can sometimes reach 4 hours, and that's a bit more consistent compared to what I had before, where it was more consistent to get about 3.5 hours of screen on time. Again, I won't make it till the end of the day on the battery life with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, but it definitely has improved compared to before. Just still bad. Now of course with OneUI 5 there comes a somewhat new software experience. It isn't really in day-to-day life a big difference compared to what you were used to. For me it feels very similar still. That's not a bad thing by the way, but it still feels very similar. Overall I like what Samsung does with their software. I like the app drawer, I like the overall view of it, the icons look good, and overall for me that works well. There are some things though that I find annoying. The main thing being really annoying is one-handed use. And why? Well, simply put, if I want to have my settings appear, normally with any other phone that I've used so far, it's just swiping down somewhere on the screen and those will appear. With Samsung however, you have to be really specific. Go on the top of the screen and no, not a little bit below it, no, top of the screen and swipe down. Then the settings will appear. This is a detriment for one-handed use, especially for a phone that is much larger than of course your older phones. Having that setting appear while swiping down anywhere on the screen is a huge benefit, and I feel like this is an oversight from Samsung to not include that. Why is it this way? Why does the app drawer appear when I swipe down? It makes no logical sense for me, and therefore that's the one gripe that I really have with OneUI. There are some other small things, but nothing really bothersome like having those settings not appear when you swipe down anywhere from the screen itself. This should be a standard, but with Samsung, it's not. So the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, it's a phone that I really want to like in terms of usability, because software experience, as stated, is something that I in general enjoy with Samsung devices. However, even though it's a stolen design that I did months before Samsung, I will have to say that this is probably the last time that I will actually look at the phone itself. But apart from that, it's just the overall experience that for me still doesn't work that well. Especially battery life. Not making it till the end of the day with a phone like this, where charging speeds are slow, and is not even included as well. Well, sorry, but that just makes the phone experience for me not worth it when it comes to the S21 Ultra. Yes, there are some things that Samsung does really well. For instance, the fingerprint scanner, even though it should be upgraded to generation 2 that you have on the Vivo X80 Pro, is still far better than a 2D fingerprint scanner. Of course, you do have a versatile camera setup, and if you do like their style in terms of camera, then there's no issue for the camera in daytime. Low light, that's a different story. It really depends on the shot itself. As you saw, there can be some artifacts in the sky that just look weird. And then next to it, of course, the screen itself is really solid and software experience for me works well, apart from the settings step. But for me, when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and of course OneUI 5, it didn't bring any major updates for day-to-day experience where I felt like it made a big difference for my user experience with it. And where I feel like, yeah, now I can definitely recommend a phone like this, depending on the price that you can get it for. Again though, that's for users like me. If you are a user that loves Samsung experience, if you like the photography style, then yeah, I can see this phone being worth 300-350 euros because of that battery life. But apart from that, for me, this is definitely the last time that I will look at this device, because for me, it simply isn't worth my time anymore. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's not a good video for Samsung and the S21 Ultra, and I really wanted it to be because again, this is my design. I did it before you, Samsung, like months before you. But when it comes to my experience, it just isn't good enough, especially for the price that you paid for it originally. It just makes no sense. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and of course, if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And talk to you guys in the next.
How to keep the